Today we're going to take a quick dive into the security awareness around a practice that is called phishing. This is a really important topic because, believe it or not, phishing can be used against anyone, even someone who doesn't even own a computer or a smartphone. So let's start with understanding what is phishing. For most people, hearing the word phishing conjures up thoughts of sitting in a dock or a boat, tossing a line with some bait on it out into the open water and see if anything bites. If you do get a fish hooked, you could end up with something you pretty much ignore and throw back because it's too small, or you might just get something big enough to feed your entire family. If you perfect your craft of catching fish by trying out different bait, changing locations, and even learning to lure in or play with the line to better emulate a live fish on the end, you might just get experienced enough to make this your full-time job and start selling your catch to others. So now let's flip the story around and imagine that you are a fish. Every time a bug hits the top of the water or something swims through your area of the ocean, you have to stop and wonder, is this legit food? Or is there a hook hidden in there somewhere? This is how the term phishing, spelled Phish, came to be. In a security and privacy sense, the practice of phishing is when someone tries to use something that looks legitimate to get you to bite and offer up yourself, or at least some of your personal information. Phishing most commonly happens through a two-step combination of email and then a website, but it can also be used through text messages, phone calls, old-fashioned snail mail, or even person-to-person talking. When we look at phishing in this much more general sense, it's a form of social engineering. So now that we understand exactly what phishing is, how do we recognize it? Just like our example earlier of a fisherman, someone trying to fish you will use some sort of bait. With this bait, they may try to get you to provide sensitive information, usually something like your email or banking passwords. We'll take a look at the 5 most common signs of a phishing email. The first thing to check when looking for a phishing email is to verify who was the message addressed to. Oftentimes you'll find that it's somebody generic, like network user or dear customer. Think about it. If somebody really needed to send you a message that you had done business with, wouldn't they know your name? The second thing to look for is the actual email address of the sender's email. Although it is possible for an attacker to actually have the correct email address, and this is known as spoofing, it's much more common that they don't go through this level of detail, and you will oftentimes see that the email address in the from field doesn't match who you're expecting it to come from based on the name that was given. The third telltale sign of a spoofing email is simple spelling and formatting mistakes. Any business that you've dealt with who is reputable and good at what they do will make sure to at least basically proofread their messages before they send them out to you. Number 4, pay attention to the overall tone of the email. Oftentimes, a phishing email will try to convey a sense of urgency to get you to react in the moment without pausing and taking time to research the request, or to even have time to reach out to the company through other channels you may have previously used, such as calling a published support phone number. Number 5 is perhaps the most important sign to look for in a phishing email because it is almost impossible for the sender to fake. Check the URL or the website of where the email wants you to visit by only hovering, not clicking, your mouse over any links or buttons in the email. The website will be listed in a little pop-up window next to where you are hovering your mouse. This is where the attacker wants you to visit and enter in your sensitive information so they can collect it from you. But if you notice that the email is intended to look like it came from your bank, but the URL shown doesn't go to your normal banking website, then you know to immediately delete the email. What if I did click? If you did happen to click and follow a link or button from a suspected phishing email, the best course of action is to not enter any information in the website that opens. As long as you don't enter any information in the attacker's fake website, they haven't gotten anything from you. Just as looking for the details in a phishing email was important, it's fairly easy to make a look-alike website, so we have to be just as diligent. You need to check for similar clues such as spelling or formatting errors on the website that opens, or most likely the URL shown in the address bar of your browser won't match the expected website that you are planning to visit. If you think you might have previously visited a fake website, the best thing you can do is to get to the website, but either through a saved bookmark or maybe from searching in a well-known search engine such as Google, Bing, or DuckDuckGo. You may want to avoid using your autocomplete feature of your web browser, since if you think you've already visited a bad website, the autocomplete feature may accidentally take you back to the same bad website again. As soon as you are logged into the website account that you think might have been compromised, change your password immediately. And while you're doing this, make sure to follow good password recommendations and choose a new password that you have not used for any other login. This is near the top of the list for password security, as it ensures that even if this password is known to an attacker, they only gain access to this one specific account and can't use the same password to log into multiple websites. One of the most common methods of theft of online personal accounts is because a person accidentally provided their login information to a malicious website. Always stay alert and aware of suspicious emails and the links they contain to make sure you keep your personal and sensitive information safe while you are online.